Hi, good evening. This is Tim LaBorde, and I'm sitting here with my friend Terrence Thomas this evening, who is a builder rep with Perry Homes. And I'm excited to showcase this model home for you guys this evening. I've walked and been in a lot of Perry homes, and I've closed a few. My dad owned a Perry, and I've never heard a complaint about Perry.
Great.
And so I'm excited to sit with him this evening and just let him introduce himself a little bit to our group. And if you have any questions, feel free to type those in the chat box and we'll get those answered for you. This is the Pomona community. We're sitting in Manville right now, not far from Pearland. And it's a really great community. I've had closings here, and I've been really happy with the product out here. So if you guys haven't driven through this neighborhood, it's really beautiful. Do you want to talk a little bit about the amenities out here?
Sure. Like Tim said, my name is Terrence Thomas, and happy to say I've been with Perry Homes for almost 15 years now. So that's kind of considered long in this business, I guess. So definitely happy to be here. In that time, I've been in a few different communities, mostly around Pearland and Manville area, but I've been as far down as like the LaMark Dickinson area, just when I first started out with my career with Perry Homes. So I've been able to kind of get around a little bit, a lot of different communities, and each one kind of offers its own nice, I guess, appeal, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So for the one that we're in specifically now, this is Pomona, and it's located, like you said, right here in Manville, Texas. It's about 2,000 houses total when it's complete, and we're right around the halfway mark right now. I think we just crossed number 900 pretty recently here, so kind of getting to that halfway point. The expected build out here is like 2024, 2025, so another 4 or 5 years, and we should be pretty much 100% finished. It's great. It's located right off Highway 288, so it's you know, most of what we have here, I think, are medical professionals. A lot of people in the working at Houston Medical Center, and so you know, really good location for that. Really easy on and off as far as 288. But as far as the amenities here, it's Hillwood Communities as the developer here, and they're really big. Out of Dallas, actually, is where they have most of their communities. Pomona is their first community for the Houston area, and they're some of the first ones to do like these automated communities, basically, where your phone kind of controls a lot of stuff around the house, you know, the lights and you know, AC and things like that. There's the security alarm, so they're really big on things like that. So as far as the amenity package, you know, parks and pools are kind of what they focus on here. So the first main park here in the area has 2 pools and a 6,000 square foot clubhouse, or recreation center rather. The recreation center has about 2,000 square foot of patio space around it, just wrapped around it. So that's really nice. Of course, they have a lot of, you know, flat screen TVs and dining tables and couches out there, just somewhere to kind of lounge around a little bit. And something we just recently opened right before COVID and had to shut down for a while, but now it's back open again. It's our fitness center. Fitness center is about 2,500 square foot, so it's about the size of the house that we're in right now, the model home. And it's nice. It has a lot of Peloton bikes in there and equipment. And the developer here, I've noticed more so than other communities that I've been in, really goes all out for amenities. They really kind of go first class. They don't, you know, you know, do anything halfway, so to speak. I mean, they just do a really good job as far as the amenities. And so something that this community has that I've not seen in any other community I've been in is a zip line. I mean, little things like that, you know, just really kind of set Pomona apart, I think, in some ways, again, because I've never been ziplining before. It is honestly mostly geared at, you know, I want to say just kids, but maybe lighter weight folks than what I am. So I went over there and tried to do it, and it's, you know, didn't go quite as fast as when the kids did. They kind of stayed there, but again, a zip line, tree house, an event lawn for, like, you know, jazz bands on the weekend, things like that. That's kind of the focus for Pomona. I mean, so again, it's just something you'll see 2 or 3 things here that you may not see in every community. So it's always nice to be kind of set apart like that.
Yeah, you know, one thing that's kind of stood out for me coming into this neighborhood multiple times now, I never drive through here without seeing somebody walking their pets, walking dogs, or pushing a stroller. So it seems to me that people really enjoy, I guess, being active around here, and they feel really safe and comfortable.
Right, and I think some of that comfort level comes from the fact that we have I call her a lifestyles person, but
Okay.
basically what our job is to, out of 7 days out of every week, plan events for 6 of those days. And those events are, of course, just aimed at, getting you to know your neighbor, get out there and enjoy things, and everything is kind of seasonal. So during the holidays, so it's just a lot of course, holiday-inspired events. Around this time, we're getting into the spring pretty soon. They're going to have things, just for that particular thing. But there's just always something to do. So you can actually, without leaving the community, just be able to see your neighbors, take part in these different events. There's things for kids even, things for teens. And again, that's something that's just really pushing this community. So you can't help but feel comfortable just as you walk around because, again, these are your neighbors.
Yeah, and so how many playgrounds do you guys have in this community?
Right now we're building our third. So that first area that has like the fitness center and the pools, that's the biggest area right there. The second area is what I spoke about with the zip line and the event lawn.
Okay.
That's the second, but the third area, oddly enough, is right in the middle of our 50-foot section where we're actually building our Perry homes.
Okay.
And so it's going to be the smallest out of all three, just size-wise. But it's gonna have some playground equipment and a few hills and just things like that to do. So it's basically within walking distance for most of the homes that we're building right now. So 3 total.
Really cool. So I know we had kind of talked about this in the past, but one of the biggest questions that buyers ask me when we go and look at new construction together is, okay, well, this house from this builder looks nice and that house over there from that other builder looks nice. How do you tell the difference between new construction, or I guess the better question would be, how do I tell you guys are quality versus a different builder? Not to talk bad about other builders, because that's not what we're doing. Right. But, I know Perry has a great reputation, and so maybe you could talk a little bit about that, about the quality of construction.
Absolutely. So, and I've actually owned 2 Perry homes. We have one now in South Lake Community in Pearland, and the very first home that we purchased was in Manville, right here in Rodeo Palms next door. And that was back in 2006. But before I purchased that first home, I had the same questions. I mean, I was a first-time home buyer, and, of course, I'm, very, I don't want to say cheap, but I'm pretty conservative with spending money. So I want to make sure if I'm going to spend a lot of money, I want to, get the best thing for our money,
you
of course.
You want to get the value or the best bang for your buck. Right?
Absolutely. And I'm not a real handy person necessarily, so I don't, I didn't want headaches after I moved in and have to be, fixing things and stuff like that. So I wanted the best builder, of course. And so the advantage for me was I was coming from a background of doing like a little bit of real estate investing. So it's pretty common for me to meet with different appraisers and like inspectors and things like that, because we were some of these guys who would try to get older houses and fix them up and everything like that. So I dealt with inspectors all the time. And so I was able just to ask some of them to say, okay, hey, you know what? You expect houses in these areas all the time. You're not on any of these guys' payrolls. You just work for yourself. So tell me, who are the builders who maybe have the most issues or the least amount of issues? I just asked them questions like that, and they were able to give me some very unbiased, just feedback. And so just kind of taking a poll of them, that's what really first got me interested in Perry homes, just because they were like, hey, for this amount of money, you have the least amount of issues after you move in, and just in our experience. And again, they're the main ones inspecting it. Another thing that I did back then was, again, this is 2006, 15, 16 years ago, and back then, it's before the internet got as big as what it is today. So we used to actually look in the Houston Chronicle newspaper, the physical newspaper, to look at houses. We use hard now.
Does that even exist anymore?
Yeah, I don't think so. But I mean, it's, nowadays, you would just never do that. But back then, you just wait for Sunday morning, open it up, and look at houses that way. And I noticed something that whenever people would advertise the resale house, you always put things in the paper to help it sell. Maybe you have a pool or you're in the cul-de-sac circle. But anytime it was a resale Perry home, they'd always put in big bold letters, P-E-R-R-Y. And that was just kind of the thing to let people know that, hey, this house is 5 years old or 10 years old or whatever it is, but it's a Perry, So the perception was out there that, hey, you know what? This is, because I didn't see that happening. Again, it's not to bash another builder, but I didn't see that happen for other builders. But people very specifically did it for Perry. So they just kind of said something to me that they're saying, you know what? Kind of like cars. Some cars are built to go 400,000 miles. Other cars, after 80,000 miles, you got to turn them in. Otherwise there could be some issues. And so house building was kind of the same way. So I got the confirmation, and just my comfort level was just raised from talking to inspectors and just looking at what the resale market was. But again, kind of jumping ahead to kind of the quality things that I just can see on a day-to-day basis now today is, you know, we live in a windstorm area, of course, and I noticed that Perry Homes was one of the very few builders that still does the hand-nailed shingles. A lot of guys use nail guns to do it, and if you see a shingle, it's just like a rectangle, right? And there's a line down the middle, and that's where that nail should go. And I've seen guys just driving through around the neighborhood, guys just with like a little staple gun, just walking along and just shooting real fast, and, you know, versus the guy who's just taking the nail and doing each one by hand. And again, you may not really see too much difference in how much that is or isn't quality unless you have a hurricane or something like that. But of course, we have hurricanes. You know, we have hurricane season, so that was something that you know, again, that just really made me think that, you know, they're at least putting a little bit more into their process up front. You know, little things. Or maybe not so little, like the foundation. I've heard that, you know, Perry customizes foundations. Now I just wonder, you know, what did that mean? But so it's not really a customized foundation when I find out what they were doing. Basically what they're doing is, these lots in the south right here are very moist because we just get a lot of rain down here.
Of course.
So a lot of times, you know, if you have a builder who has one way of pouring a foundation, so if they're gonna build 100 houses in this section, literally all 100 get the same type of foundation. But what Perry was doing was every 5 lots, they actually check for the amount of moisture that's in that lot. So, because they found that this street on this side of the neighborhood, this street has more moisture in the land than the one way over here. Just, you know, so it's different. So they don't do the same, you know, cookie cutter necessarily foundation for everybody in the neighborhood. We have a community like with 2,000 houses like this. So if the front of the neighborhood could get, when they pour the foundation, there's just a different depth dug with their trenches, a different number of trenches. All that goes into, you know, the equation before they actually pour the foundation. So they can actually, that's why people say customize. Again, I don't want to necessarily use that word, but again, the foundation could be different here than this other street versus a lot of guys just doing the same foundation for the entire neighborhood. So again, little things like that really made me think that, okay, foundation, the roof, these things are, you know, maybe a little bit better quality than some of these other things.
Well, really what it sounds like to me is you're talking about an attention to detail that a lot of other builders just are not going to put as much maybe emphasis in.
Right, absolutely.
You know? Okay, well, you know, you had talked about working for Perry for 15 years. In this community, can you talk a little bit about what kind of buyers are you typically getting in here? Like, you know, we were talking earlier, for example, that it's a great area for maybe doctors and nurses because of the medical center. But, you know, you have a lot of buyers come through your door and talk to you about that, about moving down here. Is there, I don't want to say an average, but maybe an avatar of a buyer that comes down here? What kind of buyers are you going after in this neighborhood?
Right. It's, I guess to put a percentage to it, probably in the 70 or 75% range, like medical center employees. And that's just most of what we get. Like you said, when you see people walking and on the sidewalks and things like that, I see that too. Half of them have on scrubs. You know, it doesn't mean they're getting off work and they're walking the dog or something like that. But that's definitely the overwhelming majority. And I always tell people that the good thing about Pomona and some of these neighborhoods in Pearland and in Manville is that, you know, the Houston Medical Center seems to stay pretty strong regardless of what the rest of the world is doing or the rest of the economy.
People need their surgeries.
People need their surgeries, absolutely. So whereas, you know, there could be some parts of the city where that are maybe fed more by the, you know, oil and gas, or maybe I remember when I was in Lamarck selling, when I first started with Perry, you know, Boeing and NASA, that's kind of what fed us down there, just this space station basically. But here, so I mean, if any of those industries were up or down, sometimes you felt it in the market a little bit more. Here it's kind of, you know, kind of stays pretty level. Pretty stable, yeah. So I mean, I think because of that, it's just a good investment in these areas because you don't really see, you know, those values that some other people see. So, but yeah, definitely the medical field. Probably oil and gas would be second, but overwhelming majority the medical field.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So, as far as you working exclusively in new construction, you know, in my line of work, we work with buyers that buy older homes as well as new construction. So it really is going to depend on what what the buyer is looking for. We try to accommodate, as an agent, we're trying to accommodate the buyer and looking for specific things that buyer is looking for, right? So I know, as an example, that a lot of buyers that walk in here, if they don't come in with an agent originally, they might get one through the process, through the negotiation process. Can you talk about the differences of coming in with an agent, why you might use one, why you might not use one? What are the benefits or the disadvantages, I guess, if you would like to kind of talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, I think some of the benefits are, and again, I say this knowing that just like every builder, salesperson is built different, every agent is kind of built different too. So I mean, you have different levels there. But you know, if you can get a good agent like yourself, of course, we work together, then that agent's gonna, you know, kind of really have your back, so to speak. Be able to answer questions, confirm things that need to be confirmed, maybe check things that need to be checked if something is not correct. And again, it's just having someone who has the experience that you don't have. I mean, we get a lot of first-time home buyers, and they literally just don't know a whole lot about the process. I mean, we kind of take it for granted, maybe because we do this every day, but a lot of people just aren't educated on real estate transactions just in general. So, you know, if you have a good agent representing you, then it's always a plus for the buyer, you know, just to make sure, okay, I'm not paying too much for this, or, you know, this is, you know, okay as far as these fees. Because I mean, again, I know you guys specifically are real estate agents, but I mean, you have knowledge of just the whole process in general. So if anything just looks weird, anything looks like it should be, you know, a concern, then they may not know to ask, but you do. And so that just gives them a comfort level. There's probably no negative thing about having an agent. You know, I think it's just mainly just positives, you know, because again, it's just representation, and it's someone that's not on the Perry payroll, it's not on a DR Horton payroll or whatever. They're just working for you.
That's right. You as the buyer. You as the buyer.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's good to have a good one.
Well, one thing that I noticed, because we just completed a couple of weeks ago a negotiation with a home builder, we were in the office with that builder rep for several hours, and what I noticed is I was able to remember a lot of questions to ask that particular builder rep that the buyer wasn't able to. And after all of that was said and done, I felt like I provided a lot of extra value to that buyer, just simply bringing up those things or issues that they had not considered or thought to ask the builder rep from the very beginning.
Right.
So that made me feel good, because I felt like I was, you know, really doing my job and helping that buyer. Whereas them just coming in and talking to the builder rep, which, you know, people do, you know, but I was able to add, I guess, an additional layer of security or comfort for the buyer to help them walk through the process and think of things and ask questions that they weren't able to do on their own.
And it doesn't cost them anything. Sometimes people think that, okay, if I have an agent, does that mean that I have to, you know, do we add money to the house for us to pay them, or how does that work? But, you know, of course, every builder has a separate bucket of money, so to speak, that they're going to, you know, the commission or just whatever's worked out, that, you know, they're going to pay that real estate agent, you know. So it doesn't cost the buyer anything. They get, you know, basically free professional representation. And, you know, again, just another person there just to hit those checkpoints that they may not even know to ask about. Again, it doesn't cost them anything. So they really have nothing to lose by having a professional represent them and just make sure that the transaction goes the way that it should go.
I appreciate you bringing that up, because that was actually one of the questions that I forgot to put on my list to see. It's a good question. So, you know, we've covered a lot here. We've been here talking a few minutes. Would you like to give us a tour of your model home, and then we can kind of wrap it up?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to grab my phone and then we'll do that.
Good. So do we want to start at the front here, or?
Let's see if I can get this phone working.
Okay.
That's the most important part, right? The phone has to work. Okay, so now you're live. Go ahead.
Perfect. All right, so we're live here. Let's go ahead and start at the front here.
Okay, sure.
What I'll do is I'll point out things that are, you know, a little bit of upgrade versus standard, just so you can kind of see, without spending a lot of money, exactly what you can get with the new Perry home.
Okay.
And so the house that we're in, this is about 2,600 square foot. So This is the largest that I built in my section personally.
Okay.
So let me just kind of take you front to back. So
Yeah.
the first thing that you notice when you come in is just the open concept. Perry, they're
Do I need to do
absolutely,
this?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me what to do here.
Switch places here.
All right.
So you see it from front to back.
Okay,
You
sure.
know, these are 12-foot ceilings that
Yeah.
you see here.
Yeah.
Very wide open walkway. So if you like open concept, which a lot of our buyers tell us that's what they want.
Of course.
Then this is perfect. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity just to kind of create that wow effect for people when
Okay,
they come in.
yeah.
You decorate this a certain kind of way, and it's just a very nice open concept. So again, 2,600 square foot, 4 bedrooms, and so we'll kind of walk through, and I'll just point out a few just nice features.
Sure.
So one thing is going to be this. People like these high doors, and so like if you can kind of get a shot of this.
Let me back up a little bit
Perfect,
so I can
perfect.
grab it.
So we used to always do 6'8" doors. That's kind of an industry standard.
Okay.
So the door be 6'8".
Sure.
But again, just from buyers telling us, hey, the higher the door, the higher the ceiling, the better. Then now we do 8-foot doors standard for all of our entryways. So anything that's in our entryway when you first come in is going to be 8-foot door instead of a 6'8" door.
Okay.
And that extra height definitely makes a huge difference.
Well, I feel like even the high ceilings and the high doors, it just kind of feels like it adds space to the house. It makes you feel like you're in a bigger house than you otherwise would be. Is that,
Absolutely, and these floor plans, I mean, make all the difference in the world because the house can live and feel bigger than what it actually is. I mean,
Okay.
you can be in a 3,000 square foot house and feel cramped, or you can be in a 2,500 square foot house and really feel like you have a lot of elbow room and just feel open. It just all depends on the layout. So Perry, again, they've been in the business for over 50 years building houses, so they just kind of have a good process down and a good design team down just for making the home live bigger and feel bigger than what it actually is.
Okay, let me get a shot of this room while we're talking about it here.
Perfect. Yeah, and everything you see in here is going to be standard. Of course, they don't do things like furniture and window coverings, but
Of course.
just the home itself, the recessed can lights on the ceiling. So that's going to come included with the home.
Okay.
Okay? So we're going to kind of try to ignore this over here. This is actually going to be the garage. This is the model home, so
Right.
we just use offices in the garage area. But normally just have a wall right here in the door and, standard 2-car garage. Okay?
So this is all going to be taken down when the last Perry home is sold and you guys are ready to sell this one off. It's going to be converted back into a garage to sell it, right?
Correct. Yeah. It only takes them less than a week to do it, but all this is being ripped out. And this will be a regular garage right here.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll kind of step in here real quick. This
Sure.
is the first bedroom, and one thing that Perry Homes has done a lot lately is giving you one extra room besides the master bedroom. Giving you another room that has its own bath on the inside.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that's great. So you can get the
Very
full bath right here.
Very familiar with this. I had a listing last year in South Lake that was just like this. And by the way, this tile is just beautiful. But yeah, it's great. It's great because if you have guests coming over, they've got a bathroom right there in their bedroom,
Right.
and it's like a miniature primary bedroom, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about maybe having to share with the kids or
Yeah.
anything like that. They have their own private.
Or extended families, for that matter. If you have your mother-in-law, you want to put her on the other side of the house.
Absolutely.
Right.
And there's good distance between this room and all the others. So this is just a good location right here.
Of course.
And so this particular home has 3 full baths, but if you can kind of get this is a half bath option. It's kind of pulled in here right now. But
Okay.
a lot of our 1-stories, they normally have a half bath option for guests. And so, again, you get 3 full baths standard for a lot of the homes.
Okay.
But again, if you just want, just something extra for guests, it can
Sure.
definitely be 3.5 pretty easily.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So moving along, kind of this open entry here. When you see, more fancy things hanging like this, as far as the light fixtures, they will charge you a little extra for these. These are normally like in that $200 range each. Just depends on just the style that you choose. But
Okay.
without these, you'll still have all these recessed can lights in the ceiling standard, and this will be throughout your whole entryway right here. So. Again, it's I'll just point out a few things like that.
Sure.
There's 2 bedrooms over here
Okay.
that share a full bath. Okay? And these are typical size bedrooms, kind of like the one that we just came out of. This is a 14 by 11.
Okay.
Same as the one we just came out of.
Yeah.
And we're about to go into a 12 by 12 next door.
Somebody pointed out these curved these curved walls to me the other day, and I hadn't really noticed them before, but now that I see them everywhere. It seems like it's like one of those trendy things that I'm seeing a lot of lately.
Yeah, and it is just from a functional standpoint also. This is the roof line. So when you go outside the house and just look, this is actually your roof right here. So it just works how they have it recessed like this. Again, it's nicer than just necessarily just 90-degree angles everywhere.
Well, it adds a little bit of a design feeling to it, right?
Absolutely. Add some character to the house.
Character, yeah, that's it. That's right.
And you'll notice also, even in like, I guess what maybe would be the kids' bedrooms, still 10-foot ceilings. So
super high.
10 is going to be the minimum for our closets, bathrooms, and all the rooms. Sometimes they get up to 12 in some areas, but 10 is going to be the minimum. So people really appreciate that.
And then that's kind of standard across Perry, across the board? Or?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we have this room here. Of course, we decorated different ways to kind of show you what can be done with it. So this is the little baby girl room right here.
Of course.
So again, what you see in here, only just 2 upgrades. If you want things like this on the wall, like the custom paint, of course, they'll charge a little extra for that. What they normally do is let you choose one paint color for the entire house. And there's about 10 different colors to choose from. They're mostly like the whites or the grays or like a beige type colors. So if you stick to those and do the whole house like that, that's standard. But when you get into different accent paints for different rooms, that's when they'll charge you a little bit extra.
Yeah, and I will say this, as far as the model homes are concerned, I noticed that these colors and like this furniture, it really helps to sell the house because it helps the buyer visualize. A lot of times what I see is we walk through an empty house and sometimes it can be hard to visualize my furniture in that spot. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. So it definitely helps a lot when you walk through these model homes, you can get a feel for what kind of furniture you would like to put in your home, or would your existing furniture fit well with the vibe that's here, I guess you could say.
Very good point, because I hear it every once in a while. People walk in and say, hey, my bed won't fit in here. But if you could show them a room that, with the full-size bed in there, or twin, or whatever it is,
sure,
very easy for them to see.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so this is the second bath. As of right now, this would be the bath that the guests would use, basically. It's the only one that's not in a room. But the tile you see up there, what they normally do is whatever tile you choose for the floor, you'll automatically get that up the side of your wall, and your bathrooms or your shower standard. When you see the little, strips of like the detail tile, they'll charge you a little extra for that. But
you're talking about this piece here?
Correct. But that aside, you always get tile on up the side of the wall standard.
Okay. And this is quartz, correct?
This is like a soundstone. So we'll see some quartz in the kitchen. This is a little bit different material, but this is standard. And kind of looking at this, when you see these cabinets, the colors that are standard are white, gray, and brown. And when we say brown, there's like 10 different shades of brown. Okay. So those will all be standard. They don't charge extra unless you put these knobs on here. But as far as the color, a lot of different colors to choose from, all included in the base price of the home.
Gotcha. And I don't think I think I forgot to ask you, but what do the homes range in this neighborhood right now?
So right now, there's 3 different sections for Perry homes. And so the 50-foot section that we're in right now kind of represent the smaller of the homes. And so we start at 1,900 square foot and get up into this 2,600, and that 1,900 is going to be about 360. That's what the cost is going to be. The difference would be it'll be 3-bedroom instead of 4, and then 2 bath instead of 3 baths. Sure. So you lose a bedroom, lose a full bath. That's where your size comes from as far as the difference. Okay. Yeah, the 360s for like 1,900 square foot. But now we just opened up right at Christmas time, opened up a 60-foot section. Okay. And those are up to about 3,600 square feet.
Let me stop you and ask you a question right there, because I hear builders say 50 and 60 all the time. Could you explain what that is?
Absolutely. So when you hear 50, 60, 75, 80, when the builders are talking, they're talking about the width of the lot. Okay. And so when I say a 50-foot section, that means the lot is 50 feet wide. And so that also tells you kind of what size you could put on the home. So when you go, hypothetically, when you go from 50 to 60, again, it's just 10 more feet on the lot as far as the width. Normally in Pomona, in a lot of communities, the depth stays the same. Okay. Whether you're 50, 60, or 70. Okay. Normally it's the same depth. Yeah. It's just the width of the lot. I see. Now, the other thing I guess worth noting is that when people hear that, I've had people come in and say, okay, well, this is a 50-foot lot. I want more space between me and my neighbors, and so I'm going to get an 80-foot lot. That's not necessarily the case, because what we do is the builder builds the house just as wide as the house can be, we're still fitting on the lot. So
Yes.
we normally have exactly 5 foot between the house and the fence on each side.
Okay.
So that means a 50-foot section has 40-foot wide houses.
Okay.
If you're in an 80-foot section, you all have 70-foot wide houses.
Okay.
So you can have 120-foot wide lots, in these type neighborhoods. You don't necessarily have more space between you and your neighbor than the 50-foot section does.
Okay.
Because again, they're going to maximize the square footage of the lot, the use of the lot.
Of course.
And put it, the same 5 foot from the fence.
And that's a really great point to bring up. So as a buyer, if I walk through here and come to you and I say, well, I like the house and everything, but I'm looking for a little bit more of a lot or more distance between my neighbors. Is that something that you guys are providing in any of your communities right now?
It can be achieved because a lot of sections, have curves in them, right? You have streets and, some streets are just 90-degree, turns, but some are curves. So if you can find a curved lot, then instead of 50-foot wide, it may be 80-foot wide in the front just because you're in a curve. And so it's going to narrow to 50 foot in the back.
Okay.
So it's going to be shaped kind of like a pie, basically.
Yep.
So, it's a perfect example. My wife and I, when we bought our Perry home in South Lake, that's one thing that she wanted because the house we had before that, we were in a cul-de-sac circle with like 10 houses probably, some lots. So we were very close to our neighbors.
Yep.
And so she was like, hey, if we move, I kind of wanted more space. And so all we did was just pick a lot that was in the middle of a curve. And just because of, where it was located, instead of, 50 or 60 foot, I think the lot's like almost 100 feet wide because it's in a curve.
Wow.
And so, you can definitely achieve, some space between you and your neighbors.
Okay.
There's always, in every section, I would guess there's probably 10 or 11 lots where you can do that, so you'd have to kind of be one of the first ones to kind of make sure you get that lot if it's a new section, but yeah, there's always a few opportunities for that.
Okay, awesome. So this is your dining room?
This is a former dining room, and it's something that a lot of builders are doing is they're doing away with their former dining rooms. I guess the feedback they've gotten from just the public is that a lot of people don't really use them very much, maybe once a year for Thanksgiving or something like that. So what they're doing is just offering other options. And so for us, you can leave it like this as an open dining room, or we'll close it into it and close a room in and make it like a theater room or media room, a game room. And so if you want that, we can definitely do it. But I think the plan for Perry Homes is within the next year or so, probably there won't be any more standard dining rooms. It's going to automatically come as just another functional room.
It's really interesting how when the trends change, I never thought I'd hear that. I never thought I'd hear that from anybody. Just get rid of the formal dining altogether.
Right. And it's a big space. And so I guess if you're not going to use it, this is kind of a big part of the house. This is a big room. So,
of course.
Yeah, definitely want to make sure it's functional for everybody. Okay? So kind of moving along here. Again, they're keeping with this same open concept throughout the entire house. Okay. And so you have a family room that we're in right now. It kind of flows right into the kitchen right here. And again, so this style setup is probably 80% or so of what we sell, but something we kind of have started moving towards a little bit more lately is more of an open concept to where if you can kind of get a picture of all of this wall right here.
Yeah, let me back up a little bit.
Or like we're actually removing this entire wall right here.
Okay.
And going from the dining room all the way to the back of the house being one open space.
Okay.
It's one continuous space. There's nothing kind of blocking. And so it would be like this or like that. But again, as long as it's an open concept, they're just kind of testing the market with that. So this is quartz. Our kitchens actually come with granite standard. Okay. But quartz is going to be considered the upgrade. It's a little bit thicker, of course. It's like a man-made product. Granite's just a little bit more natural. But again, this is a smaller upgrade. The cabinets that you see here are going to be standard. These are 42-inch cabinets. And again, you're talking about brown, gray, or white. It's all standard. Just tell the design center what color you want. And all the appliances that you see here come standard with every home except for the refrigerator. But with the refrigerator aside, you get the microwave. This is actually a 5-burner gas range, and you get the dishwasher. Everything's stainless steel. Everything's standard.
So I have a quick follow-up question on that. I understand that the price of materials has changed drastically recently. So I don't know how often you guys change your prices, but maybe you could speak a little bit about that, because I've spoken to a lot of builders, and the consensus that I keep hearing is the price of lumber keeps going up. Right. So, and of course, if the price of lumber goes up, the price of the house has to go up to account for that. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So, we kind of, in the 15 years I've been here, we've kind of been hit with more of a game changer with COVID probably than any other game changer I've seen since I've been in the business. And so, like you said, lumber, I think the number is 300% that it went up over the course of like 3 months from March last year to just kind of going into the summer of 2020.
I didn't even realize it was that high.
Yes, 300%.
Okay. Wow.
And then, it's kind of a quick example, even with brick, our one-story houses are 100% brick, so brick is just a big part of what we do, of course. And, so a couple of our plants, like Meridian is one, I believe. The plant got hit with like it wasn't a fine, but they got shut down for a little while, basically, for not being COVID compliant, I guess, with their workers at the plant. So something like that, automatically, that's brick that can't go out for a few months.
Sure.
They have fewer people working at these plants. And so whereas we used to be able to get brick within 2 or 3 weeks, any color you want, any style or whatever, that we started seeing those times go from 2 weeks to like 4 weeks, and 4 weeks to 8 weeks. And then some of the bricks just being discontinued because the plants can't give, can't supply the demand, basically.
Sure.
So it's definitely affected us. So the price of just almost everything around the house, from the plumbing material to wires to the lumber, to brick, everything's just kind of going up just because of the pandemic. So we've tried to do our best just to kind of get people, just the comfort that, hey, we're still building, we're still trying to get homes, on time, as we've always done, but pricing has increased for sure. Not just with Perry Homes, with all the builders.
Yes.
Everybody's kind of risen up in price. So
yes.
in a normal market, normally every 3 or 4 months, we may raise the price a little bit, maybe 1% or so.
Yep.
But, it's just been more than that in 2020, just directly because of the pandemic.
Yeah, and the big thing that we've seen also is that there are less listings right now in Houston than there, I think, have ever been. I mean, there's a huge discrepancy between the number of buyers. There's tons and tons of buyers running around looking for inventory versus the number of listings that are even available, And so that supply and demand equation has kind of been messed up a little bit, with all of the buyers running around. But I was, telling my broker the other day, I was like, well, at least we still have the builders. Like somebody's putting their house up for sale. So
we still have a bunch of land, and we still have a lot of inventory. I think just here in Pomona, between our 50 and 55 foot sections, we have at least I'm gonna say 13 or 14 inventory homes. Half of those are 100% done. The other half are just different phases of construction. But we're still building. And that the plan is just to continue. So.
Yeah, and so you just mentioned inventory homes. Can you talk about the building process just a little bit?
Sure.
The building process of coming into your office and saying, "Hey, I want XYZ built from scratch," versus this inventory home over here, I can just walk in, pay, and buy it.
Right. So like you said, the inventory home is very quick processes. A lot of times, if a house is finished, everything's already picked, and they don't generally let you go back and change very much when the house is done.
Yes.
So you're talking about from the time you sign a contract to actually closing on the home, 30 days, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
And that's just the time given just so the lender can do what they need to do, order the appraisal and things like that. So 30 days is a very quick process when the house is finished. When you want to build from scratch, then at any given time, we normally have 25, 30 or so just open lots just to build on. So, it's just a matter of finding the right floor plan and making sure it fits on the lot that you want. And as long as it does, that's normally our very quick, straightforward, process. As long as the house fits on the lot, we'll kind of go ahead and start the process. It's about 5 or 6 months. So start, from start to finish. Yeah. The first 2 weeks, a lot of things happen. You pick everything within the first 2 weeks, as far as design center upgrades. So everything on the inside of your house, your cabinets, your countertops, your fixtures, everything in the first 2 weeks. Your brick. And after that 2 weeks, then you're literally just kind of sitting back. I mean, we'll meet with construction a few times, just to kind of give you updates on the how the house is going. But besides that, you're just kind of waiting for that house to be built. But that first 2 weeks is just a critical part. And even more so now, because since with COVID, everything is taking a little bit longer to get here as far as material. And so things we used to order at the 1 month mark or the 2 month mark, we order all that stuff like day one almost now, just so we can kind of get in line and make sure it doesn't, stall, just delay the
Yeah, well, especially with product shortages, if you're trying to get bricks and you can't get them, you don't want to find that out the day before you need them. So it's sure, absolutely. Okay. Well, what else you got here, man?
All right, so let's go on to the The primary bedroom here. It's formerly the master bedroom. Yeah, so this is, again, not a whole lot of upgrades in here. Perry really has that less is more kind of take on things when it comes to upgrades, and so a lot of what you see is what you get.
Okay.
And so again, it's just a couple of things in here. And anytime you see a little kind of a fancy fixture right here, it's going to be a little bit more, but the wall here. This is again not very expensive to do, but that's a little bit of an upgrade there.
And what is this? Is this wood or?
It's wood, yeah. Just kind of pieces of wood. So I know we like these HGTV shows where they take something simple like some wood or some trim and just make something just really nice out of it. So that's kind of the idea here. Not very expensive to do, but it's just kind of kind of like a wow factor sometimes.
Sure, makes the room stand out a lot more, right?
This is a good size. This is a king size bed. Okay, so this particular room that we're in is like 14 by 17.
Okay,
it's a very typical size for like a primary bedroom. So you want to make sure you can fit all of your big furniture in here and not feel cramped.
Right. So and still have plenty of space left over, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So kind of going into the master bath here. All of our master baths are always going to come with 2 separate vanities. So, could be his and hers, or just whatever the situation is. But again, similar to the kitchen, the gray cabinets are going to be standard. Again, you just pay extra for the knobs, but again, the color is going to be standard. A lot of builders, this is one thing that kind of sets Perry apart. The industry standard for these tubs are going to be 60 inches, 5 foot.
Yeah.
But Perry, as long as it fits, we'll do 72 inches.
Okay.
This is a 6-foot tub. And again, this is definitely something that not every builder does. I mean, it's 6 foot is it's a pretty good size. So when we have tall people come in, they're always pretty impressed. Or they make comments about, hey, this is the first model home I've seen with a tub that I can actually fit in and almost almost lay down in. So it's a pretty good size there. And so what you see here, like the tile here, it's going to be, we have about 80 different colors of tile that are standard. And again, kind of what's in nowadays are these gray colors. So everything you see here is going to be standard. Really, the only upgrade is going to be on the inside of this the shower. The subway tiles a little bit more shiny, so they charge a little extra for that. Plus the fact that it goes to the ceiling.
That's what I was gonna say, man. My shower is not as cool as this one. It's really pretty.
Mine either. So, they normally stop around 8 foot or so. So this one they went all the way up to the 10-foot ceiling. So that's nice. And we always have doors for the commodes. Again, that's something that hasn't always been the case, I don't think, with Perry, but people like to have doors and privacy with the commodes, and so always good to have. And the last thing, of course, is I'll kind of step in here.
Well, you got an extra bedroom back here, huh? This closet, it's a nice size.
Nice walk-in closet. You get built-in shelves in every Perry master bedroom closet, so you'll always have this. Now, if you build from scratch, there are other options you could do, like closet systems, and they can build in, drawers and things like that. But standard is you at least get the standard right here. Again, with the 10-foot ceilings, you have space to do closet systems and do other things. With these big closets like this. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this home, again, with everything that you see in it here that we've talked about, it's right around $399. If you were just to copy and paste most of what you see right here and just build it from scratch, right around $399 is what you'd expect for this one. Again, this is our biggest one for this section.
So, real talk, can you help me talk my wife into buying this house?
Absolutely.
You can.
I'll put the sales cap on. And,
there you go.
Yeah.
No, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah, they did a good job with this one. For sure.
So I know we've covered a lot here, and I always like to ask the question kind of when I'm starting to wrap up. Do you think I left anything else out of this conversation, or was there something else that I'm forgetting to ask you that I probably, that you'd like to mention?
Let's see. Just that, I think the goal is always to have people have just the best buying experience possible.
Sure.
We talked about that a little bit, but with Perry Homes, you're not just necessarily buying a house. You're kind of buying a team, so to speak. I mean, we have the construction guys that meet with you on a very regular basis. Of course, the salesperson. We're gonna go out the red carpet, so to speak, and do everything that we can to make sure it's just kind of a smooth buying process. Our design team, they're trained professionals, and so you really just kind of get a team effort and just trying to make the whole buying experience just as easy and seamless as possible. So that really is the goal, I think, of all the folks. Again, and when you've been here for a long time, you just know that's just the best way to do it. Again, I've been here for 15 years, and kind of a testament to Perry Homes. We have a lot of salespeople who have been here like 20, 30 years, 35. I think the oldest one is like 37 or 38 years.
Okay.
And so, when people really like what they do and
Yep.
like working with the, with the buyers, then I think that's just kind of a testament to say, hey, you know what? We're comfortable with the prices.
Sure.
Excuse me, with the product, and just how we do things here. I think all that just goes into just to have a good home buying experience. So it's no reason for you not to have, just a good time while you're building. The experience is there, the quality is there, and we try to make it fun.
Yeah, I can really relate to what you're saying right now. So we work as a team, and what I find is on our team we have inspector experts, appraisal experts, people that have just been doing this kind of stuff forever. And so when we run into certain kinds of issues during along the transaction, we just pull in one of these people to help us and make it right, or see what we can do to mitigate it, right? Absolutely. So it can really make a big difference, I think. Not just from the standpoint of Perry, but just on your, the individual realtor versus a realtor that's working along a team of other agents and professionals. So I think it can really make a big difference in the overall quality and the enjoyment of the transaction. Absolutely. Right. So I really appreciate that you taking some time this evening to talk with our group. And, hopefully we can do this again here soon. Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. We'll do it again.
Thank you, Terrence. Do you want to leave your phone number or anything like that before we jump off here?
I'll put it out there. So my direct line is 713-578-0063. Again, 713-578-0063. That's directly to me. And so any questions, definitely give me a call. And one thing worth mentioning is that Perry Homes has kind of a new policy. Anytime there's a finished home that Perry has built, they're going to let salespeople basically anywhere in the city, help you with that particular home. So, for instance, I'm in Manville here.
Yes.
But if you want a home in North Houston, or, Sienna or Cypress or, in Clear Lake or just wherever, I can help you with that house as long as it's finished. And so definitely don't hesitate to call me if you have any questions. Again, I've been in the business for a long time, so I'm happy just to help out any kind of way that I can. So definitely call me anytime. Yeah,
definitely appreciate your expertise and experience bringing knowledge to us this evening. And guys, if you do happen to call Terrence, please let him know that Tim sent you.
Yes,
all right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mention Tim's name.
All right, guys, y'all have a great evening, and we'll be here again soon. Bye-bye for now.